Hello, lovely muses. Welcome to Cosmo Muse Tarot, and this week's reading is going to be looking at August 2025, sort of a look into something specific about August. So sort of infusing my lens with astrology into things. The majority of August is ruled by Leo season, the season that is ruled by the sun itself. It's all about stepping into our heart, channeling warmth, playfulness, joy, a lot of beautiful things. But I like to dig under the surface. I'm never sort of satisfied with surface anything. Like, I want to know the psychology underneath things, the reason underneath things, what's at the root of things, all those like foundational aspects. Like I just can't take keywords and surface descriptions and be satisfied. So I'm always digging, I'm always uncovering more layers and levels to things. So something I've really been mapping out and working on, and I'm actually putting this in a book I'm writing that is nowhere near complete, but I am putting this information somewhere, is I've been mapping the literary structures onto the Zodiac and different journeys that the planets make, but just our solar journey throughout the year. You can map the hero's journey and the heroine's journey onto that. Hero's journey is more of that external world. What are we doing? Who are we trying to be? How are we individuating? As well as the heroine's journey, which is more about our inner values and claiming our voice and our worth. So internal and external, they kind of go through a similar journey, but manifesting in slightly different ways because of what the journey is about. And so mapping that onto our solar year or onto the Zodiac, when we come to Leo season, we are coming into this stage in the hero's journey, so the external stuff, that's called apotheosis. And that is sort of like when you die to an old version of yourself, and sort of, it's not quite like a resurrection in terms of like near the end of a story that tends to happen, but it is this really transforming moment. It does kind of come close to the great ordeal, or it comes after the atonement with the father, when you're facing kind of your climatic moment. So Luke finding out that Darth Vader is his father, and facing that father, that thing that's had control over you that you didn't really recognize, or something that has held power over you that you hadn't acknowledged or even known was there. So it's after that point, after you've kind of faced and stood up to that thing that holds some power over you, you have to then, infusing this with a little bit of astrology and my own take on the hero's journey, in the apotheosis blended with like that Leo energy, it's sort of like, where do you, when you come out of that cave of truth and like defining your boundaries and finally standing up for yourself, it's like you start to come back up into the light, and you have to get rid of some of the fears that you held on to in that climatic stage through stepping into heart. And there's a process with that. We have resistance to letting go of some of our fears and some of our overprotectiveness, of being in this like innermost cave type of scenario. But when it's okay to be protective in that earlier stage, in the atonement stage, because it is about our depths and it's a little bit more connected to lunar energy. But when we come back up, we're now back into the light. And when we hold on to wanting to be too protective of things, that's ego protecting instead of like protecting out of right timing and right scenario. It's ego kind of putting on a performance and masking things and performing rather than letting itself be seen and entering the heart. And so that stage where you're finally able to kind of shed those fears, face certain truths, honor your heart, step into your heart and see truths for what they are, about yourself and about life, and allowing your heart to lead. Like an old version of us dies and we elevate in life. So really pivotal moments. I just wrote about this on my Substack, which I always link in the descriptions if you want to read the latest one. There's more to it, but I did give this kind of example in my Substack essay I just wrote where and this is a spoiler, so if anyone is watching on Apple TV, there's a series called Stick. So if you're in the middle of watching it and you haven't finished it, like there are spoilers, skip ahead for like 30 seconds or so. So there's this young prodigy who's like a golf prodigy. He's like 17 or something, and his moment of apotheosis is he realizes that his father shows up in his life conditional, is a very conditional thing, and he's only there when he's golfing well and really committing himself to golf. And he realizes that conditional thing is something he can't live with. So he finally faces this truth. And so his golfing really transitions from this performance of like using golf to get love and admiration and closeness to people, not just his father, but like in general. There's a lot of weird stuff involved in his golf game, but when he faces this truth that his father's love is conditional and that's not okay to him, and he cuts them out a little bit, and he starts golfing for the love of it from his heart, everything changes. His game changes. The fans suddenly just like swarm around him. He's like something elevates because he steps into the courage of his heart. So that's kind of, the feeling of challenges we go through when we come to Leo season every year. What is a truth we really need to have the courage to step into and honor? And then in the heroine's journey, more that our values and not necessarily what we're doing in the world, like in Stick, the guy playing golf, and what he's becoming, but like what we're valuing and how we're valuing ourselves in the heroine's journey. I'll use the same example I wrote about in my essay. That stage in the heroine's journey with Leo season is the transformation of the beast. And so like a very simple, obvious one is Beauty and the Beast to look at, where when Belle finally sees the beast through her heart and realizes she loves him, he transforms back into a human. But so do all of these objects that were animated. She sees everything for who they truly are. And it's because she started to see through her heart and not through these checklists and expectations of certain decorum. Like, you have to dress this way. Like you see her trying to, I know that like some of the teapot and whatnot and the candlestick are trying to coach the beast too. But it's all on these expectations of winning Belle's heart. You have to have a certain proprietary way of being, expected societal norms way of being. And so it's like meeting these checklists, and it's a little bit objectifying. And she finally sees these, people through her heart, and they transform to where she actually sees them for what they are. That could also be applied to yourself. You might see, like a different story might be that Belle sees herself as the beast, but she finally sees herself through her heart and really sees who she is. We could flip the narrative on that. So it is this transformation of the beast thing, and it's about dropping into seeing through the heart rather than these like norms and expectations and societal kind of constructs and frames. And so there is this thing in Leo season of this challenge of like dropping into the heart in both that inner and outer way. There are some ego deaths there. There are these things where you have to sort of like die to an old version of yourself and an old way of doing and seeing, to see things as more real and to elevate life in just like a much more beautiful way. So I want to take a look at that journey in this coming August. How is that happening? We have 3 piles. What is that narrative going to kind of look like? So let's look at the piles. We've got pile 1, which is boat. Pile 2, which is abundance. Pile 3 is kintsugi. So pause. Hold on, I'll get my hands out of the way in just a second, just straightening it. Okay, so feel free to pause here. Check out the cards, feel into them, whether it's the colors, the titles, just an energy drawing you in, the numbers 1, 2, 3. Whatever it is, just feel into which pile is drawing you in, and timestamps will be in the descriptions, and I will see you guys in your readings. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your August reading, where we're kind of looking at your stage in August in terms of this year's version of a hero and heroine story, where there is kind of this apotheosis moment where you die to an old version of yourself and elevate, as well as kind of the transformation of the beast, where you start to perceive and value through your heart rather than through sort of preconceived or placed upon you or society's expectations. And so the first couple of cards we're going to do are oracle cards, and we're going to just get kind of the theme of what this sort of ego death is about. And so our first card is we have the boat, which is a lot about like finding your center and finding your balance and peace of mind despite there being turbulence, whether that's a lot of drama around you or a lot of emotions moving through you. It's like finding that calming center where you can kind of like hold your center despite the turbulence around you, the waves that are rocking the boat. How can you stay stable within that? So let's get a couple more cards before we see how that actually applies to an ego death. Okay, so resonance. Oh, I like that. And then one more card, and then we'll kind of decipher this overall theme. Kind of wanted to come out. Grounding. Yeah, those all work really well together. Okay, so my sense here is that there could be a lot of expectations around you or expectations from within you, or both. A lot of times those things kind of come in tandem, that are sort of making you feel a little bit unsteady and having you potentially making things like pro and con lists, or trying to reason out or use logic to be like, what is the right step here? What should I be doing? A lot of shoulds, What should I be doing? What is the right choice? What is the right behavior? What is the right way to respond to this? Whatever it is for you, but it's like there is just turbulence, and I feel like resonance is saying that in order to really face the truth and really honor your heart and what you want, it's time to turn the mind off. Stop using lists or reasons or justifications or pointing fingers or taking on a lot of blame on yourself for something, whatever it is, where it's just like something has you off center, off balance. Turn those wheels of the mind and logic off and feel what resonates. What is resonating here? It doesn't have to be something that categorically fits into right or wrong, or, you know, like that resonance is something that can help you make decisions in the gray areas and find a way through that might seem illogical or might seem counterintuitive in some ways, but it's actually like this wisdom of knowing how to harmonize things, how to find the right tension where life isn't too slack and loose and dull, or too tight and brittle and about to like break, you know, like what's that right tension that creates a beautiful harmony. There's something about that like your heart, if you start tuning into, can really help you to face a truth through resonance. And I think at the heart of it all is like looking for some grounding, looking for a sense of safety and security and stability. And that's where ego can really get in the way, where some ego death may come in, just like watching where behaviors and actions have you doing things that are performance out of a fear of feeling stable in life, performing that you're stable instead of actually doing, you know, listening to your heart and stepping into a courageous action of resonance. Where are you performing a sense of grounding that's not actually there, or that isn't something you have a grasp on yet? It's like, stop performing that. You'll find the reality and an embodiment of that through walking through resonance, something that you have to like use your heart to say, this resonates, this feels right, rather than, you know, the logic or the explanation or putting something off, or, you know. So yeah, that's kind of the big moment for you guys in this Leo season and where your transformation is coming in. So we're going to use some tarot cards to get a little bit more nuance in this story, like what is going on here, that we can tease out a little bit more information, a little more depth. The Hermit. You could be, let's get one more card. This one wanted to flip over. Two of Swords. I love Two of Swords coming under resonance, because that is, in my book, when I read tarot, the card of resonance. It's a Libra card. It's the first of there's like 3 Libra cards. The 2, 3, and 4 of Swords are Libra, so 2 being the first one is that moment of like really having to find the right tension, the right resonance. And it that 2 of Swords is fence sitting, not being able to make a decision, and like I mentioned earlier, like making the pro and con list and trying to reason and logic through it, And it's like, no, this isn't something you can reason or logic through. You have to use resonance. So coming right under resonance is like doubly bam, yes. And I feel like you're kind of, I'm going to read Hermit as literal. There's different ways I'll read tarot cards, different associations, but I'm going to just do this as very literal. Like, you may be in like literally in hermit mode right now because you're in like a decision paralysis and feeling like ungrounded, unstable. So but you know, like when your ego is threatened, when you're a little bit exposed and not sure you're ready to be exposed, you might perform that like, well, I'm being a hermit because, you know, and putting on some performance of like, that you're, you know, like it's actually a grounded thing. And it's like, no, it's a fear thing though. And how can your heart help you see that? And you're in like a decision paralysis or an action paralysis. And it's more this like, rather than using being a hermit for its purpose, where it's like time to really commit yourself to practice and method and technique and finding your own instincts, having mastered something and now breaking the rules that you've learned to create your own instincts. You're hermiting. Well, I don't want to point fingers. You might be hermiting. It doesn't have to be the only scenario. You might be in hermit mode out of self-protection and out of, what's the word I'm looking for? Procrastination of making some kind of decision. Okay, so what else do we have here? Page of Pentacles. Maybe it's about potentially a work-related thing. Are you looking for a new job, wanting to look for a new job? Unsure what you even value in life, unsure what brings you pleasure. There's something that's like you don't have a grasp on right now of like how to feel newly engaged and excited about values or a material trajectory, how you're either making money or enjoying life or both. But the Page of Pentacles is saying that there is something new, there is something beautiful that is there for you to attach onto, or not, that's already there, so you don't have to attach onto anything. It's already there, but it's like you're not responding to it because there's some like mental and emotional layers on top of you tuning into heart and resonance, that you're trying to think through things and you're letting feelings sort of like confuse you. And it's like if you can just like get quiet and listen to your heart, there is this like new stirring that will animate you, that will bring your heart to life and will create like a new sort of trajectory in what you find beauty and pleasure in, or what you can find a financial path in, so, you know, or both. Let's get one more tarot card around this. King of Cups. Wow. And then talk about like skipping from a page to a king is like, when you listen, when you have that moment of ego death, and through listening to resonance and listening to your heart and recognizing what you need to actually respond to, even if it's a little bit counter to what feels logical or reasonable or whatever, but it's like your heart is singing it, you know? Once you acknowledge it, it will sing to you, it will feel alive to you, it will animate, and you will move from this thing of feeling like a beginner or a silly little thing but that's, like eager and excited, but still like novice and silly in some ways, those judgments that we put on ourselves. Getting rid of those proprietary judgments and being like, it doesn't matter if this feels like taking a step back. It doesn't matter if this feels like returning to a more childish way or something that's beneath me. It's lighting me up, and my heart is responding to it. And so I'm going to follow it. And as soon as you drop into that and don't have judgments around being the Page of Pentacles, something does ground, something does start singing and grounding and stabilizing, and you suddenly leap from being this sprightly, novice, naive little thing that just feels a heart song that's very childish, but it's still there, to being in full command of your heart and, captain of industry in ways, or just feeling that this small decision that felt so insignificant and so potentially beneath you was actually your Mount Everest, was actually held your greatest happiness and command of your happiness. And command of having mastery over your emotions, and it just totally transforms and elevates your emotional life. So the King of Cups doesn't necessarily say that like those finances or that sense of pleasure and beauty transforms overnight, but like emotionally, you move from this very rocky, turbulent boat to being able to let anything pass in and through you with absolute command of your emotions and authority of your emotions, and feeling on top of the world, feeling on top of the world, which I would imagine down the road will lead to some financial success or a better path in terms of how you are finding pleasure and beauty in life, or both. But it starts with just owning what your heart is singing in terms of a new path that seems insignificant, and recognizing that it just creates this immense stability in your emotional well-being. Okay, so last card, we're going to get a message from the mushroom realm to close it out. Final message. About you having this both apotheosis and transformation of the beast. I feel like the transformation of the beast is more internal, about how you are seeing yourself and how you assume others see you and how you would be perceived. It's like just shedding any cares about that. And then, see what the mushroom realm wants to tell us about stepping up to that, having, what comes with answering that call and going through apotheosis and transformation of the beast. We have mycelium, collaboration, reciprocity, and exchange. I think this opens up community, whatever it is that you're gonna, find yourself responding to, and not judging and just saying, well, whatever is there that doesn't make sense, whether it's a step back or something that feels beneath you or something that feels too insignificant or silly or whatever it is just not. It elevates your life completely, and it's bringing in new community, new collaborators, new belonging, new just sense of being plugged into life and others, and an openness and like authentic connections. So it's really, really beautiful to see that come through as well. Okay, so that is your sort of moment in August on our yearly Hero and Heroes journey, connection to the seasons and months. So good luck with that. I think whatever this decision is, like just follow your heart and yeah, shed this needing to perform that no, I'm where I want to be. I'm grounded where I should be, like a hermit. Like, no, something's off about that. Make that courageous decision, even if it feels silly or just not, like a step. To me, it's feeling like you think it's a step back, and it's actually like, I just heard someone say this, and I can't remember where it was. That sometimes it might have been in another tarot reader, so I'm sorry if I, ripping off another tarot reader's thought, but it just totally like flooded into my mind as I was closing here, that like sometimes a step back isn't a step back, it's a set up to launch off of, and that's what this feels like start at square one with something new and exciting, but that like makes your heart sing. Don't think it's silly, don't think it's childish or beneath you or whatever. Like, answer that. There's something there that's going to really be a launch pad for you in a lot, like in many ways beyond just materially or values. Like it's really connecting to emotions and sociality and something going on there. So all right, good luck with your August and this really fascinating kind of plot line playing out. And I hope it, does take you to this connection and command of emotions and just, like a much more elevated emotional well-being and connectivity. So, all right, I will see you guys in future readings. If this resonated, as always, appreciate it when you like, share, subscribe, and generally, thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me read for you. I so enjoy it, and I will see you in future readings. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your August reading, where we are taking a look at how this year's apotheosis stage of the hero's journey that comes on during August, as well as the transformation of the beast stage of the heroine's journey that simultaneously happens in August. How is that playing out for you? So we're going to do a few oracle cards to get the theme of this. What is happening here? What is your heart being asked to answer to and stop performing around to kind of save face with ego or using ego to protect something that feels vulnerable? So we have abundance as the first card. This one wants to come out. Courage as our second card. And let's get one more oracle before we kind of interpret what this might be about. Raven and magic. Okay. Interesting. Let me sit with these for just a minute. I feel like we have such different, we've got like, an ocean thing, so a water element going on, and then on the courage card, there's like a lioness or some big cat in the desert, so like a land element. And then raven and magic is like air, so we've got a lot of elements going on here. A lot of different energies. Courage, abundance, magic. It feels like, oh, you know what? Because courage can be associated with Leo energy, which is, the zodiac sign that rules the majority of August. And that step before Cancer comes before Leo, and that's a water element. So it does feel maybe sort of like you're going from the depths, trying to find your heart back on land, to elevate, because Leo can help us to take flight and to elevate. But it's like you have to come out of the cave and into your heart in order to soar, in order to find your magic. I think you found something in the past month. If this doesn't resonate with you, you might want to look at a different pile, because like a very specific thing came through here, is that in the past month, like in July, there may be something like going into your depths, really getting honest with what feels aligned with you. There's something that you found, some kind of alignment and nourishment that you tapped into that explained a lot about where you have an abundance of energy, where you have an abundance of resources, or where a path to abundance lies. But it's sort of like this new discovery, right? This new thing. And so it's like, well, it's not ready to come out into the light. I have to protect that. I have to understand it more. I need to keep digging to further stabilize it. But unfortunately, as the seasons and the wheel of the year turns, sometimes we don't always get all the time we want in a stage of things. And it's like, I feel this thing where it's like you feel like that wheel of life has turned too quickly and you didn't stabilize or as deeply understand this new thing you kind of sourced, this new source of nourishment, this new understanding of your abundance, your particular vein of abundance, or what your abundance is, or what the path to abundance could be. And it's like, well, we will come back to that season again next year, and you can further stabilize it, and the next year after that, and the next year after that. But for now, it's as stable as it's going to get. There is no more digging deep to stabilize in this wheel that's turning this year. And so wherever it is, and my thought, my feeling, what's resonating with me is that it's more stable than you think. Yes, maybe it's new, maybe it's vulnerable, but you've seen it, you've tapped it, you've tapped that source of something. And so maybe next year you can tap it a little deeper, go a little deeper with it, but you have tapped it, and that's not going to be taken away from you. And so it's time to meet the light where it is, to recognize that you are coming back out into the light, that it's time to be more courageous and more, let this be seen, let this be exposed a little bit more. And you do have to find courage to do that. You do have to find courage to let something be seen that you've tapped and have wanted to protect. And if you continue to try and protect whatever this source of nourishment, this understanding of your abundance or a path to abundance, if you continue to try and overprotect it and not let it be a little bit exposed, the performance that comes in that protects your ego is sort of that, like a false flight, sort of like, you know, the raven to me is a little bit mysterious. It's a little bit dark. It's a little bit hidden. And I feel like there could be this performance of like, I have something deep and I have something magic, but I'm not going to show you. I'm keeping it hidden. But it's not, your command of it isn't actually quite there to be proclaiming yourself in the raven stage. It's like the ego may come in to help you like to protect you from courage and saying like, I'm going to skip the courage. I'm going to skip the exposure and go straight to Raven and say that I've integrated this thing, that I have this thing, but I'm not showing it because it is dark and mysterious. Not dark in like a evil or negative sense, but like rich and enriching and fertile and mysterious. But unless you let this thing be seen and expose it a little by creating through it, using creativity around it, using some leadership around it, whatever it is, exposing it a little bit, expressing it a little bit, letting something be seen here, you won't actually see the strength you have in it. You will be taking flight from assumption rather than embodied presence and knowing. And so this is just saying that it's time to let yourself be exposed. Like look at this cat. It's like completely under a bare sky. I don't know if this is a moon and a night sky or a sun or all of it, the night and the day, but it's exposed, right? It's not, there's no trees to hide under, there's no rocks to hide behind. It's out, it's in front and center. And the saying it's time to test this, be bold enough to put this out there in the world, to let something be seen about some deeper thing you've touched into. What is a source of nourishment you've touched into, a source of abundance you now feel like you've understood you possess, or a path you feel might take you towards abundance. It's like, how can you show this, expose it, not in a sense of like, I have command of this and I know exactly what I'm doing, but like, look what I found, and look at me creating some, beginning things with this. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be polished. It can be raw, right? But there's something about going through being seen, exposing something, creating with something, letting your heart shine, with this thing you've tapped into, that allows you to really embody with presence and start to integrate this thing rather than protect it, rather than be like, oh, look what I've tapped into and now I need to protect it. It's like, it actually deepens. I shouldn't say that we're past the point of you needing to like deepen, because like something does become stronger when you allow it to be seen even in a raw elementary stage. Which is so interesting, because this must be like a more universal thread, which makes sense to me, but I won't go into in terms of the astrology, that there's like new things that we're all tapping into. If you haven't noticed, the world feels very different, right? In the past, since the new year, like life is completely different. Like the rules have changed, everything's shifted. We've started a new 19-year cycle with our nodes. The node has moved its way through Aries, and a new 19-year cycle has begun, and there's another big 15-year cycle that's brand new to this year. And so there's new things happening. We're all birthing new things. And so maybe even just that knowledge that like everything that's coming out of people right now is kind of raw and feral and new and not polished. And let it be seen. It's okay if it's not polished. It's okay if it's a little impulsive and not quite developed in the way you're used to having something developed when you show it. It's like, just be bold, be courageous, and ask your heart how it wants to express with this, how it wants to be seen, what new creativity is moving through you because of what you've tapped. And just put it out there. Just ask your heart, listen to your heart. How do I want to put this out there? How do I want to let this be seen in honesty, in truth, that it isn't polished, that it isn't quite elegant yet, but it is profound and it is deep and it is fresh and new and interesting and exciting, but like I can't protect it forever. And if you go through that step, you'll avoid using ego to perform that you've done that when you haven't. And you will authentically and truthfully find yourself stepping into Raven and elevating and feeling a sense of magic in you. Despite something being new and a little bit in the rough, you still find something taking flight, something magical, something really wise, really all-seeing, really rich and beautiful and mysterious really take flight. But you have to, for it to take real flight and to really elevate, not perform that it has, you have to let it be seen. You have to let your heart be seen. Even if you don't know what this is that I'm talking about, maybe there's just this element of like, I feel like I've touched into something rich and deep and nourishing, but I don't know what that is an expression. I don't know what that looks like. And that's, just listen to your heart. It will tell you what to create. It will tell you how it wants to express or put itself out there or be seen. But listen to the heart. Don't move out of fear and pretend, put things out there that are not perfect, that are new, and just see what happens. I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised. Okay, we are going to get a few tarot cards to get a little bit more nuance, a little deeper into the story here. Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, whatever abundance or like source, whatever you feel like you've kind of tapped into newly, like a new source of nourishment, is really does have that potential to empower you and really give you kind of a life and lifestyle and prominence even that feels aligned, but it takes time. The Queen of Pentacles is a seasoned body, and there's something new going on here. So I feel like this is giving you a vision of what this leads to if you're really honest on this path, if you really lean into the path and do it with your heart and act, be courageous and allow yourself to be exposed and, really go through the steps. This is the potential. You can end up as, in that embodiment of a Queen of Pentacles, someone who is at the top of their game, who has cultivated a life and lifestyle and position that is very nourished and aligned and connected to its values, connected to its desires, connected to knowing how to balance life with work, play, knowing how to make wise decisions financially, just like a very mature but aligned and nourished person. It's like very sophisticated connoisseur type of energy. That's the potential if you are courageous enough to be seen, not yet in the Queen of Pentacles. And that's what I feel like. It's like you want to hold on to this and protect it until you feel stable enough that you can step out as the Queen of Pentacles. But the ugly truth is you can't become the Queen of Pentacles until you go through some rough stages. And I think it's years. I think we've just started a new 19-year cycle, like I said. So it's like you're finding, like you're really aligning with the spark of what this 19-year cycle is about. And this is the potential in it. It's not going to come overnight. It's not even going to come in this year, probably. Some lucky people might. But that's the potential if you really honor your courage, the spark, the motivation, the dreams you're having, really answering those calls and not faking your way through it, or not pretending your way through it. It's okay to fake it till you make it, but don't pretend you've done things you haven't, or that you're more time tested and polished than you are. Allow things to be raw. It's okay. Everyone is a little bit unpolished right now. Okay. 6 of Wands. I don't want to do reversals in this reading. I mean, 6 of Wands is a Leo card. It is about victory. It is about showing, being strong enough to step up to the spotlight, being strong enough to be seen, to act, to go out there and be a part of life and put yourself into life. And when you do, I think you're going to find that things are easier than you think. You get those wins more quickly and more easily than you think you might. You're stronger than you think you are, and your wins will follow if you just put yourself out there. King of Cups. It's interesting. Pile 1 had a King of Cups too. Let's look at this one. Yeah, a strong, really, whatever this is about, it's following your heart, being truthful through your heart, taking chances, taking risks, being courageous is really going to develop your inner life as well. And I think you're going to realize that, because there are things we can take from past, even though we're in this new 19-year cycle and 15-year cycle in another way, even though there's new things going on, there are time-tested things within you can bring into this. And for me, I feel or what I'm feeling here, the King of Cups, is that you have a time-tested command of your emotions. Emotional authority is something that is already time-tested and developed in you. You have resilience emotionally. And that is a strength you already possess that you can bring into whatever this is about for you. Being courageous with your heart and your fire, know that your emotions have you. They're solid, they are resilient, they can take you through anything. Okay, last tarot card. Five of Pentacles, which is so interesting to see in contrast with the Queen of Pentacles, because they feel quite opposite in meaning, where the Five of Pentacles can indicate this sense that a scarcity, a feeling of scarcity in life. The reality of that, there might be some literal scarcity, but what's actually happening is a change in values. Your values are elevating. And when your values change and they become higher and they elevate, values connect to our material world shifts, and there can be this transition where, it's maybe with a shift in values that is asking you to course correct in career, course correct in your sense of what you think is just or beautiful, course correct or just mature or grow up in certain ways around what is beautiful, what is good and right and beautiful in the world to you. And it might be different and than where you have been, and hence create a need for pivots in order to respond to life and your heart. And it can come with moments of scarcity, but it's a transitional phase. It's temporary. It is also indication, the Five of Pentacles is also an indication that there is sanctuary, though, like spiritual values are holding you. A lot of times there will be an image of like a church door opening to someone who feels destitute. And it's like the spiritual life is a sanctuary right now. And that is where you will find abundance and not scarcity. And there is protection there. And there is sort of this, there is like with that Five of Pentacles, I do feel that even if there is a sense of like scarcity in some way in values, whether that's financial or in other ways, there is sort of a spiritual abundance that's starting to be felt. And you're just pivoting, you're just maturing, you're growing up in ways you hadn't before. Not saying that you're not already really mature and, but there's some new avenue that you're maturing into, some new layer that you're maturing into. And sometimes it just, you really start to focus on enrich that divine spiritual essence and kind of are less concerned about the material, so it does become less prevalent and hence less abundant. But our first card was abundance. It's temporary. It's a transition. If you need to pivot, if that resonates with you, if that's what your heart is telling you, you will re-land in abundance after a pivot. Respond to what your heart is asking of you, even if it means a pivot that could, mean leaner times for a minute. You'll make it through, because that's the vision of the future, is the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, last card, we're going to just get a parting, ending thought message from the mushroom realm, which I love thinking of the mushrooms as like, that fungal network. They have a line and a take on everything. They're connected into all the information. So their take is very informed, I feel like. It's like the gossips of the spirit world or the subtle world. So what's the gossip in the subtle world for you? I don't know why that's how I wanted to phrase it for this pile, but that's how it came out. Coral. Complexity, aspiration, structure. Yeah, so maybe your aspirations are changing and it means a little bit of a pivot. And so even if initially that comes with like a setback, this is so interesting. It's very similar to pile one. It's definitely different. Like I feel like the meaning behind it, the why and the what is different, but the energy is so similar. It's crazy. Okay, so coral. Complexity, aspiration, structure. Alien forms appear transported from faraway seas, reaching skyward in an intricate wave. Let's look closer. I'm not familiar with coral fungi, but I'll put this up closer. So they reach up, okay, and they do look a little alien. Even in unfamiliar surroundings, do your own strange dance. Yeah, be yourself, be courageous, do your, answer to that call that's asking you to do something, to pivot, to do something different. What is your heart asking of you? it doesn't have to be around career. It doesn't have to be around anything specific, but what is that call that's different, that is taking you into, a place you're unfamiliar with, but asking you to be truthful and authentic and seen and exposed anyway. Like a lot of times when we go somewhere and that feels foreign to us, or where we're the outsider, we kind of like to observe and sort of, see how things are being done. But this is asking you to like jump right in and be yourself. And it's like, bring the new dance to the foreign land, like bring your take into something that hasn't seen your take before. Or, being the new, there is that element of beginner's luck, doing something new, and you're the newbie. Sometimes like you bring this new energy that sparks new ideas and new growth. And, it's like, so don't be scared to speak up, to share your ideas, to, whatever that is, like, let your strangeness in a strange place be seen, or your unique dance in unfamiliar surroundings be seen. Like, but answer that call to like, jump into something that maybe isn't familiar to you, doing something different. What is that? Is that around where you want to live? Is that around work? Is that around school? Is that around types of people you hadn't really considered dating, or communities you hadn't ever really, just like community life, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be anything specific, but there's something here that's like, asking you to say yes to a new, something that feels like a pretty big pivot for you. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave you guys. Good luck with this stage of your yearly journey in August. Really stepping into your courage instead of performance, and pretending you've been through it. Actually be, showing vulnerability, showing some rawness, and putting yourself out there. You will elevate, you will tap into magic, and it will spark some wins. There may be some momentary shifts that are uncomfortable, but it's just a transition thing. So don't mind it too much. All right, if this did resonate, I always appreciate the things like share, subscribe, and just thank you for letting me read for you. I always enjoy it, and I hope to see you guys in future readings. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your August 2025 reading, where we are looking at the stages of the hero and heroine's journey that I like to map on top of this month, or at least on top of Leo season, which is the majority of August. So right off the bat, we are going to do a few oracle cards to kind of get the theme of these sort of like ego deaths, or an ego death that you might be going through this month, to really step into the truth of your heart, step out from a sense of needing to be overprotective of yourself or something in your life, and really having the courage to be seen, or let something be seen, which can bring some ego deaths. In the hero's journey, that is apotheosis. In the heroine's journey, that is transformation of the beast. Go into the intro and listen to the whole thing if you haven't, so that makes more sense to you. So right off of the bat, before I draw the other two oracle cards that are going to give us our theme, I do have feelings that came through pretty quickly. Is like there's something more elegant in this pile happening, where I feel like you've already been through some kind of like battle. Like you have been through the worst of it. It's only up from here, but we can't always see that at our lowest point. kintsugi is like when, it's a Japanese, I'm probably going to butcher this a little, so I apologize for those who know this in more depth than I do. But there's this thing that like when something breaks, say a vase, they love to, like kintsugi, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong as well, is they will glue that vase, that broken thing, back together with like a gold infused glue. So the crack is actually golden, and it creates this whole new thing that even though it's broken and it's put back together, there's something much more original, unique, and beautiful about that sort of weathering and tests and trials and character. Like there's more character there, right? And so I do feel that coming into this apotheosis stage, you may be really protective of yourself, like really unsure about stepping out into the light because you've been gluing something in your life back together, and maybe even your whole self, like your sense of self back together, or something more specific back together. So let's see what other oracle cards want to add to this. Let's take this one. Courage, which is exactly what Leo season and apotheosis and transformation of the beast is about, is courage. And so I feel like that's just doubling down that like it's time to have courage and step out into the light. You have beautifully glued things back together. Your character is now something special and different and more elevated than it used to be. There's something more elegant about you because of what you've been through. So have the courage to be seen again. Yes, there is the chance of something breaking again, but that's life. And this is just saying, even if it breaks again, put it back together with even more gold glue and even more character. But it's time to come out from like being overprotective of something. Okay, so let's get one more card. Love. So for some of you, this could be around relationships. Others, it could be around self-love. Others, it could be just more of that general energy of warmth and knowing how to love life. It doesn't have to be about anyone in specific, but just more of an energy you carry of like warmth and joy, that kind of stuff. And the thing here, so the way I'm reading these oracle cards is I'm wanting to see where there might be performance, where ego is trying to protect you. And what I'm feeling here is that, like, yes, you're being called to come and step out into the light and put yourself or something you've been very protective about back into life, back into engaging with life. But that can feel scary. So you may put on a bit of a performance like everything's okay. And a bit of a performance about being warm and loving when you don't actually feel that way. And so I feel like what's being asked of you here in terms of like really being in the truth of your heart is just being raw, coming out into the light, but being raw and honest. Like, I am here, I'm showing up, but I'm maybe not completely okay. And it's like just that acknowledgement, just that truth that I'm acknowledging that, like, I'm answering that call that I'm supposed to be in the light again, or something about my life is supposed to be in the light again, but I'm just voicing it. It's scary, but I'm here, I'm showing up. just that little act of courage completely transforms everything. And then you do, like, it just happens. Like, you acknowledge that fear, you acknowledge that you maybe don't feel warm and loving, but I'm here, or this thing is here, or this thing I'm putting, been working on and putting it out, it's here. But I feel very vulnerable about it. I feel like I'm still wanting to protect it, but I know it needs to see the light. Just that acknowledgement shifts everything. That apotheosis happens where everything elevates. And suddenly you do know how to tap into warmth and love authentically and truthfully, and it starts to be embodied in you, and you start to feel that, like, I feel like that acknowledgement, that honest moment of rawness brings a lot of love towards you, and then that allows you to see how to embody that yourself and be in the presence of that yourself. And that's your apotheosis, and that is how you elevate. That is what is being asked of you this Leo season. And in terms of that transformation of the beast, that feels like you. That feels like you're, like, look at this statue. It's being glued back together, but and there's like even an arm missing, which is fine, But if you get into this person's, I know it's like actually a statue, but let's pretend it's a living person. Get into their psyche. Yeah, they're missing a limb. They've been, dismembered and glued back together. And yes, there's character there, but like that person may be witnessing it for themselves as like, I'm kind of a scary beast now. And that's where the transformation of the beast comes, where you actually see yourself for the character and beauty and elegance that I initially saw, is through that just being honest about the vulnerability and rawness that's there. It's like, look, I'm showing up. I don't feel great about whether it's how I appear or how I'm being perceived beyond appearances, and maybe certain flaws you perceive yourself as having. I'm still here. Like, I feel a little exposed. I don't like being seen exposed like this. I mean, like, I'm even thinking of just like one of those meme viral moments that just happened at that Coldplay concert where that couple got caught on the Jumbotron having an affair, and like the whole world knows their names, and their spouses must just, not, I want to focus more on the spouses because they were like the ones that got, whose lives are probably trying to glue themselves back together in some way. And that's got to be scary to step back out in the limelight, right? To be seen by your community, or even now the world knows them. There might be press, people, paparazzi hounding them or something. And it could be, whether that's, micro moments or bigger exposed moments, at some point you have to re-engage life. And like, I don't know how I'm being perceived, like as the victim woman that was cheated on, or the man whose wife left me for someone. I don't know what the husband looked like, so I'm making this up, for a man that was, more attractive or younger or something, whatever. And so it's, you've been wounded, but you don't want to step into the light again and be seen as this victim, but like just voicing that, as an anecdote there, like, okay, I'm showing up again. I'm feeling very uncomfortable. I'm feeling very vulnerable. I'm feeling really raw about this, but I'm here. It's time to re-engage life. And it's just like this feeling of you're being perceived, like everyone looking at you, and how am I being perceived? And I don't want to be seen as a victim, or I don't want to be seen as this or that. But just that truth and the honesty when stepping back out into the light, it's like, there's nothing but love coming back. And people are like, no, we got you. It happens. Look at how strong you are. You're getting back out there. You're going to make a life that's so much more aligned for you, and so much warmth and love comes at you. And then you're able to just be strong again and embody that warmth and love and ability to be out in the world and perceive yourself as elegant, and having been through something that's made you, that's giving you so much more character and wisdom and, all of that stuff that's actually really beautiful. So that would be the transformation of the beast element there of interpretation. So let's do some tarot cards to get a little deeper into this. Five of Wands. Yeah, this feeling of like you're playing chess. Like strategizing. What's the right move? There is this feeling of perception here of like, how can I look better in what I do? Or how can I come out looking the best I can in this situation? And like strategizing something where it's like, drop the strategy, just respond to what your heart is asking, just come out in your rawness and be honest. And, let's even say you're in the scenario I was using with the Jumbotron. Maybe in your scenario, you're actually the one that got caught having the affair, and you're strategizing your PR and how to like come out looking better, or like optically make things a little better. And it's like strategy. And like people see through that, right? And it's like, no, just come out and just say, I messed up. I'm human. Like, don't strategize it. Just come from your heart, just come out vulnerable from your heart with courage. Stop strategizing. So either way, whether you feel like you've done something that's going to be perceived badly, or you've had to put yourself back together because something fell apart or something didn't work, maybe a business didn't work and you don't want to, you're scared about how you're being perceived if you were to start a new business, or, there's so many, it doesn't have to be, I was just using one example, but it could be around business, love, friendship, whatever it is, or some lie you got caught in, or some lie someone else got caught in. It's like, whichever side of it you're on, whatever aspect of yourself you're trying to put back together, just be raw and honest. Just come from the heart. Don't strategize it. Four of Pentacles. Yeah, you're feeling really protective about yourself. There's definitely this fear of having courage, of being, coming out from like your home terrain where there's no, gaze upon you. You're safe in your little private inner world and private family life, and it's like you can't stay there forever. You can't lock yourself that's what's coming through. Do not lock yourself away because of whatever is going on. Like, it's time to just come out in rawness, in truth, with heart and openness. And yeah, and I feel like this Knight of Pentacles is saying like the way forward here is just slow and steady. Like, things don't happen overnight. One foot in front of the other. Stay grounded in the virtues, whatever. I heard a PR expert talk about this when she's dealing with crisis management with clients who are going through, say viral things, or, things where they're kind of looking like a villain in the public eye, she tells them to start at square one. What virtues do you have? Are you charitable? But authentically, not making them up. Don't be charitable if that's not an authentic virtue to, for you. Are you caring? Are you, whatever. There's so many virtues there are, but what are your virtues? Really ground into those, invest in them, and let those be the path you follow. Follow your virtues that are authentic. And that is your little by little how you rebuild your life or rebuild something, Find your path back into the world. An Ace of Swords. Get out of your head. The power of your mind is way greater than you think. Don't get too caught up in stories your mind is telling you. Don't let narratives control your thinking. Take back the power of your mind with positive affirmations, positive thinking, feeding your mind with healthy things. Your mind is very powerful, and it's very much so affecting this moment of what's being asked in this moment with Leo season, with apotheosis and transformation of the beast. Feed it beautiful things. Train it in beautiful things. Find mottos and affirmations, and don't let your mind spiral into narratives that aren't even true, made up narratives that might actually be in the world but aren't but that aren't the whole of it. They're very reductive. Don't get trapped in those things. Don't go down the spiral. Focus on the positive. Focus on the positive. Focus on the positive. Follow your virtues. Follow your, let your heart be seen in vulnerability. Follow your virtues and feed your mind positive things. And in no time, you will authentically be embodying and carrying a true presence of warmth and love and vitality, and everything will elevate. So it's, we don't always pass the tests. We don't always step up to the plate, and then we have to wait a whole year to get back to Leo or August again to try it again and step up to the plate again. So it's this is what's possible. This is what could be. Otherwise, my sense is you lock yourself away for the next year. Don't do that. Don't do that. Or you keep trying to out-strategize things and it keeps coming back to bite you. It's no, just be in your heart, in truth, honest to the virtues you have, and invest in those, and feed yourself positive. Feed your mind positivity and beautiful things, and it's going to be easier and quicker than you think. That everything will elevate and transform with love. Okay, final message from the mushroom realm, a departing message about this stage in your yearly journey that August sort of holds. Not sort of, it does hold. And I love the mushroom realm. I don't know why it called to me, but I find it very gossipy, mushrooms and the fungal networks, the mycelium underground, is it's plugged into all of life in very subtle ways. So it knows everything. It's heard everything from the subtle realm. So it has the tea, and it's very gossipy in a different way. I find flower realm very gossipy too, but it's different. It's a little bit more in the know versus flaunting, flowers are very showy and flaunting and flirtatious, whereas mushrooms are plugging into like some deeper wisdoms and more holistic kind of stuff. And so we've got Earth Star, Emissary, Keeper, Shapeshifter. So let's see what the book. I love the book on this too. There's a mushroom, a flower, a crystal, and there's a fourth one. What is it? Anyway, but I love these decks. They have like the shortest, sweetest, just to the point interpretations. So Emissary, Keeper, Shapeshifter. These celestial visitors hold their spores deep in their stomachs like messages from the beyond. What if you scattered your secrets like shooting stars? Yeah, and I feel like it's saying like, don't keep those things in your gut. Let things out. They'll eat away at you. Let yourself out, right? And you'll see how the bigness of life and the majesty of life and the forgiveness and beauty and magic of life will very quickly just dissipate and scatter all of those fears, all of those things you're keeping so tightly inside. That protectiveness that you're holding maybe in your gut, in your stomach, will just be so much, like, it's so much simpler than you're thinking. Like, and it is, like, what you could experience this season is like shape-shifting. And I love how, like, it said like what did it say? Like dissipating. What if you scattered your secrets like shooting stars? And it's like this love card has stars in their in their heads, and it's like, just let it out, just be honest, let things out, be truthful. Not that you're like hiding secrets like this card might suggest, but like those vulnerabilities, that rawness, that fear and overprotection you're feeling, just let it be seen, just be honest about it, just acknowledge it and see how it just kind of dissipates and fades into the magic and the movement of life so much more quickly and easily than you ever could have imagined. Oh, even this Ace of Swords has all this star energy. Like, it will just, there's so much magic in how this is going to elevate and transform if you just trust. Even this Knight of Pentacles is under like a starry sky. There's so many starry energies here. Yeah, it's just let it go. It will all just dissipate so quickly, and you're gonna find yourself embodying more love and warmth, just in a moment, just in a split moment of truth and honesty and courage and stepping out. Don't lock yourself in or get stuck in overthinking and strategizing. Just let your heart lead. Let your heart show you how to be honest and courageous, and just see everything elevate and transform. Yeah, okay, that's where I'm going to leave you guys. Really beautiful message coming through. Definitely, like, for me, of the three piles, this was like the most tender one, like something's really hard right now. So trust your heart, whatever it tells you to do, whatever it's asking you to be courageous and seen in, just follow your heart. So, all right. Good luck in August. Have a beautiful one. I can't wait for you guys to really find yourself in this warmth and love energy. If this resonated, I always appreciate the things like share, subscribe, all of that great stuff. So helpful. And thank you for letting me read for you. It's always a pleasure. I enjoy it. And just thank you for letting me do so. All right, I will see you guys in future readings.